So first, it feels good to be back out of City Hall and to be over here at the Art Museum again. Almost a year ago, or right around this time last year, it was a really great experience to come here and to utilize our news conference or our weekly news briefing to talk about some of the great things happening here in our community and in our art museum. And we then had a tour of, I think it was a Preston Singletrees exhibit. And just, we actually, one of the very few silver linings when it came to COVID is I believe we got to have that display here even longer while folks could come and see that amazing art exhibit. So I'd like you to talk about a new art exhibit that is from the Smithsonian, and it's here, and it is called African American Art in the 20th Century, Harlem Renaissance, Civil Rights Era, and Beyond. And the exhibit includes nearly 50 paintings and sculptures by 34 leading artists across 7 decades. The exhibit starts or is on this Saturday, February 6th, and the weekend admissions will be free for Saturday and Sunday throughout all of February. And I do want to just add that the museum utilizes precautions to help keep everyone as safe as possible from COVID. So please, if you come out, make sure you're wearing a mask, and please make sure that you can feel confident by attending these exhibits that they are presented in a way in which personal safety is a factor. So with that, here to tell us more about this amazing exhibit is the Art Museum Director, Dr. Patricia McDonald. Doctor, it's good to see you again.
Wonderful to have you back. Wonderful to have you back, Mayor. It's been way too long. Thank you for mentioning the Preston Singletary exhibition that we had last year. As a matter of fact, we kept it for the entire year. That exhibition, I mention it in part because it is now going from the Wichita Art Museum to the Smithsonian. Oh. And yet it's really super to be able to bring treasures from the Smithsonian, from Washington, D.C. to Kansas and Wichita. And so we're really celebrating that. This is an exhibition that's been in planning for years at this point. And as we thought about how we could deepen the impact of having these treasures here in Wichita, we reached across town in Wichita, and we've partnered with the Kansas African American Museum and the Ulrich Museum of Art at Wichita State. You're going to bring those directors who were with us today up to the stage in a little bit, so they're going to tell you about that. To repeat, yes, nearly 50 works of art by 34 artists, and so many greats across the whole century of art making in the 20th century. So Jacob Lawrence and Romare Bearden and Sam Gilliam and Norman Lewis and contemporaries Renee Stout and Richard Hunt. Interestingly, it's every different kind of style and every different subject matter you could imagine across those many decades. So abstraction, for example, is included in the exhibition. And think about the lengths and experience of the 20th century. We survived 2 world wars. There was incredible civil rights protest during the mid-century, and art reflects life. And so in the exhibition, when you come, you see the life experiences of African Americans across those decades, and you see joy and celebration and beauty, and you also see hardship and adversity and racism. It's all mixed in really wonderfully by some of the greatest, some of the best African Americans from that time period. So to reiterate what Mayor Whipple shared, really to welcome this exhibition, the Smithsonian to Wichita, we're opening our doors for free. Please come on Saturdays and Sundays through the entire month of February. Will be free. As a matter of fact, we're free if the general viewing public is not aware. The Wichita Art Museum is free every Saturday, all the time, And that is thanks to Colby Sandlian, who's actually now endowed. So this will go on forever into the future. He's endowed Free Saturdays at the Wichita Art Museum. And I would be remiss if I didn't thank or acknowledge at least our larger sponsors and corporate sponsors to this exhibition. Emprise Bank, Koch Family Foundation, and the Downing Family Foundation have all really stepped forward to help make this exhibition possible in Wichita. And not taking very much time myself at the moment, because I'd love it if you would welcome the two other museum directors to the podium for a bit.
Of course. Of course. Again, we do have representatives or partners of the African American Museum and also the Ulrich Museum. So I'd like to have the folks who would like to represent those two institutions come on up.
Thank you very much. My name is Denise Sherman, the Executive Director of the Kansas African American Museum, and we are so thankful and grateful to be a part of this exhibition, this collaboration throughout the city. As Dr. McDonald had shared, this has been a discussion for quite some time, and pulling all of the entities together to give a comprehensive storyline was really what we were aiming for. And so the exhibition at the Kansas African American Museum is entitled Through Our Eyes, Perspectives of African American Life in the 20th Century. And that period, as well as what Dr. Patricia shared, is that it takes you through a span of time where you get to see many facets of the African American life. And so as we move through the industrial age, the Great Migration from the South and rural America into the city life and industrial area, you get to see a little bit about how the African American life and community was changed and impacted, and then what they brought to the table as far as influence in our culture. We also get to look at the differences of city life and how that was impacted in the northern cities, where there was a lot of people coming together in small spaces. And with that, there was quite a contrast from those who were living a rural or an agricultural life. Our art also shares a little bit about the Harlem Renaissance and music and the influences of art and African American culture as it related through our music, our art, the different fabrics of how expression was presented, and how that influences even our culture today. And then introspectively, we look at some of the things that you may not be quite as aware of, and that was the impact internally with the families, with the culture, with the social science, the social part of families being not necessarily together anymore, having to move into a new city, moving to a new life. And so we have an artist, Samela Lewis, who has basically demonstrated a lot of how that impacted us. And so with that, we ask that you come to the Kansas African American Museum. We have the exhibition till April 24th. There is a small fee, so we ask that you just be mindful of that. We are open on Saturdays from noon to 4, and throughout the week, Tuesday through Friday till 5 p.m., from 10 to 5 p.m. And we would love to share with you, from our perspective, through our eyes, the African American perspectives in the 20th century. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Leslie Brothers, director of the Ulrich Museum of Art. And Ksenia Gerstein, the curator, and I were at the exhibition yesterday. And Denise, I believe we owe you some money. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Whipple and Patricia, for this opportunity. And as many of you know, this is a cultural community that loves to form partnerships. And we thank you, Patricia, for including us in this one. On January 21st, we opened 4 exhibitions. 2 of them are essential to this partnership and celebration of African American art in the 20th and 21st century. Gordon Parks' I Too Am America offers us the opportunity to engage with 40 photographs selected from the museum's collection of 170 photographs by Parks. The subjects are children and families. Parks presents us with the opportunity to experience incredible tenderness and also the stark realities of the human condition. Renee Stout is a contemporary artist whose work is renowned for its potent reflections of African American heritage and the visual culture of the African diaspora. And her exhibition, Ghosts, features a portfolio of prints that explore the ideas and visual language of Haitian voodoo and American voodoo and hoodoo. And this is a collaboration with the Lowell D. Holmes Museum of Anthropology, with the inclusion of 6 sculptures from the Yoruba culture from present-day Nigeria. And the Holmes Museum is also located on the campus of Wichita State University. In addition to the exhibitions, we have enhanced this partnership and this celebration with 7 programs. And the highlights begin with Aruna D'Souza on February 9th. She is an art historian who is celebrated for her book titled White Walls, Art, Race, and Protest in 3 Acts. So we're very excited about that. On February 20th, which is a Saturday, we are presenting Finding a Way to Move Forward. And this is a community forum on race and parenting. And we're doing it with Marquetta Atkins, the executive director of Camp Destination Innovation and director of Seed House. And she'll be joined by 3 other esteemed community members, and those panelists are all described on our website. March 9th, we have a talk with Doug Barrett, who is from Manhattan, Kansas. He's a young photographer, video artist, and journalist who has been profoundly influenced by Gordon Parks' work, and he'll be talking about that. Then on April 13th, Renee Stout will give her artist talk, and she'll be followed on the 27th by Dr. Rhea Combs, who is a curator of film and photography at the Smithsonian's National Museum of African American History and Culture, and her talk is titled Beneath These Restless Skies, Gordon Parks and His Cinematic Impact. You will find on our website, on the programs page, information on these programs and more. They are all virtual, and so they require just a simple registration, and instructions on how to do that are also there. They are free, and the museum is also free. We are open Monday through Saturday from 11 to 5, and we highly recommend organizing a visit with a couple of your friends and making a day of it to experience the full impact of these 3 exhibitions. The 2 additional exhibitions at the museum are the 23rd Faculty Biennial and the 4th Solving for X exhibition, sharing matrilineal memories at WSU, just a wonderful project based on stories of home told through memories of mothers and grandmothers. This is my prop that I selected to share. This is for you, Carolyn, and I thank you so much. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Again, this is just wonderful. Okay.
Thank you. So I'm someone who wasn't really properly exposed to art as a young person. I didn't grow up in a community like Wichita where we had such a vibrant art community. So forgive me if I step out of line by saying this, but I believe that as we enter Black History Month and we learn about our history, it's one thing to learn it, it's another thing, I think, to be inspired by the experiences. And as a grad student, I had to take somewhat of a dive into John Dewey. And one of his books, I believe, if I recall, is called The Art of Living. And in this book, they describe art as a circular process, how someone will go have an experience, and then that person will utilize that experience and put it into an art medium, and for others to look at that particular medium of art and to feel an experience within themselves. So I believe that Wichita and really the people in this room and this the art museum here is not only a opportunity to learn more about Black History Month and our history, but also to learn more about the experiences of those as portrayed through art. So I just want to thank everyone who is allowing not just this opportunity for folks here, but even the opportunity for folks who, like me, probably couldn't afford growing up the entrance fee to an art museum, and now we can do that on the weekends thanks to the generosity of people in our community. Again, I just want to thank you all and let everyone know that there will be COVID-safe precautions in place when you visit the museum, and that we I think it will run through April 24th. And again, it's titled, or the display is titled, Through Our Eyes, Perceptions of the African American Life in the 20th Century. And with that, I'll open up to questions, but if there are questions, I'm definitely going to tag team someone who knows more than I do about this.